The Red Strings Club is a story-driven game with multiple choices to take and a wonderful story. The game is set in a cyberpunk dystopia where an evil corporation called the Supercontinent is about to make the world, let's say, regulated, disinfected, and also manipulated by their choices. And we are the only ones that can do something about it. We start here in the bar, called exactly like the name of this game, the Red Strings Club. Donovan is our main protagonist. He's a bartender and information broker, which is able to channel his way through his cocktails. We're going to play as him in the almost entirety of the game to probably use his techniques and find the truth about what truly is happening in the city. Donovan, as actually looks can show, is very ordinary. No cyber implants, nothing to show off, is the most usual person you can find on the streets. But yet, he holds a lot of power just through his hands. Thanks to his ancestry and family tree, he has the power of the red strings, which makes possible for him to manipulate, understand, and also control people's emotions at will. For every drink you make, a small minigame will be represented where you can make a person feel specific emotions, things like anxiety, euphoria, or even depression. Every bottle that you have, as funny as this looks, represents a specific direction. There is down, left, up, and right. There's also a bottle which turns the red arrow that you see in the circle to the left, another one to the right. All of these have their unique descriptions that you can see, and all of them are unique on their own. Though those aren't the generic drinks you will get in a bar, for sure. They will help us progress the story and understand why people do the things they do. They make us learn also who they are. On the other hand, there's Brandy. Sorry if I'm butchering this fucking name. Brandy is a local freelancer and a free thinker that does anything in his path to make money. He defines himself a hero in multiple occasions, which is ridiculous at best, but he does live up to his word. About him, we can just say this. He's a dork, and he will try to assist us in our insane adventure. One thing that is important to mention, in comparison to Donovan, Brandy's is actually using more cybernetic modules, and it's more prone to look more like a Robocop than Donovan will ever do. Brandy's and Donovan are just enjoying their night, until someone comes in. Akaras are androids that are extremely intelligent. They are able to connect 24/7 to the internet and have an immense amount of knowledge. At the time of this happening, these androids were still using Supercontinent internally. But this specific android, someone managed instead to escape from there and to drag themselves into this bar. Somewhat damaged, we can still probe into their mind, which we find the truth about what happened to them. The specific Akara, and much probably many others in the same line, were making these pots. Yeah, they were fucking doing pottery. So these pots were made for different humans, which wanted to upgrade and they just fist them. What? These pots are specific things, which upon being inserted into the being, they alter emotions, give them emotions, or completely nullifies them. In this case, Akara will go through different users with different struggles. And already from here we can observe this manipulation I was speaking about. Akaras, just like Donovan, they just simply are not different from each other. Their job is almost likely the same. Both Akara and Donovan are making possible to alter the emotional state to change something. And it's honestly quite disturbing. And truly, this is just the beginning. Ariadne, just like Brandeis, is a pixel mess. She's a revolutionary from a company called Proxima. We generally don't know much about this place, outside the fact that they very much disagree or straight up hate supercontinent. Proxima though ain't a savior. They are literally almost the same as supercontinent, just some corporate and a bunch of evil cunts. Ariadne is here to change something, and to make possible to manipulate the true bosses of supercontinent with disruptive and generally wrong upgrades through these pots, to shake the bottle a bit and make the company kinda eat itself. Outside of this, a small amount of beliefs can be shown in Ariadne, simply that it's there to free Akara to the world, make it possible for everybody to access them as their own selves, without restriction of a corporate scheme. But sadly, even if this sounds very promising, a horrible truth is going to be shown to us, and we find out exactly why Akara is in the bar right now. Now that I have done a full introduction to the characters, which are the most important, let's explain what is happening in this game. The Red Strings Club shares with us a deep and interesting story. It very much follows terrifying and yet incredibly important questions that include us as human beings. Questions about existence, humanity, saving the world, and else. In multiple occasions of these talks, we will learn how to love and to understand the human emotions the way they are. May they be horrible or straight up uplifting, to people which are horrifying, to those who are beautiful and try their best to do something for this world. The game will present us to this world filled with corruption, killings, and an insane atmosphere of a disgusting society willing to do anything, specifically under the table, to get what they want. The protagonist, Donovan, is not a Nero character, for example. He's not even someone which you can say follows any moral. He just is the way he is. He understands human flaws as they are, and he keeps on saying his opinions on this multiple times. He's extremely flawed as a human and does immoral things or just makes his emotions to take over his logical sense. It's incredibly easy to say that Donovan is not a bad guy, but in the game we can make it either the bad guy or the good guy, but simply deciding what to do next. And honestly, all of this is very subjective from the player's decisions. If we just scavenge a bit of his history and also from the plot itself, we can figure out that a lot of things about him just scream that he's not the best person. He pulls the strings, he also plays with all of people's emotions to win something out of it. Brandeis is the same deal though. He acts erratically and almost dangerously close to death or to danger all the time. They are almost unlikable, and yet somehow we root for them. The story is exactly like this. We get customers into the bar, making them drink a good old glass of whatever the fuck we're drinking, and then finding out info about what is happening. What is SPW and M&A, what is the Akara project, and what is truly happening in Supercontinent. This is the main plan, to defeat these big corpos that deliver this project. For every round where a customer comes in, we're gonna make drinks based on the most accessible emotions of the beings we talk to. And just like a supernatural entity, somehow everybody that will end up in this bar at one time or the other are coming in this bar in these exact two crucial nights. It's pretty much given that this bar is somewhat cursed. The people who come in and out are also bound to be in this bar out of fate than actual casual predisposition. This is also confirmed also because all the rivals are actually invited by the protagonist but just walk into the bar. Somehow all of them are supercontinent or connected to this company, and they come in to find themselves or to speak what happened during the week or just disclose incredibly and absurd classified information to a bartender. Because that makes a lot of fucking sense. But before I go deep, shout out to Fingerspit, which made the most insane soundtrack that a person could ever fucking make. And yes, this is the third time in the 3 long form reviews I ever done that I say the artist who made the music is a magician. But come on, how can you not say that about something this amazing? The songs are deeply well done and clearly studied to fit the game's style and people, making it possible to immerse you in the best way possible to who you're talking to. I listened to this OST for so long since I played this game, really shoved that idea of rotten corporation and a futuristic piece of shithole in one mix, and it's absolutely perfect. The art style is an hybrid between pixelated and somewhat quote-unquote realistic, and honestly in this game they really fucking nailed it. From the animations to the simple yet atmospheric bar that you're in all the time, to the absolutely majestic and also somewhat small outside. The color palette with the usage of reds and dark blacks and the grim shadowy look to it that makes the game very mysterious and honestly very interesting to see and explore. It would have been great to explore a bit more of the city and to wander more around the place, but the game focuses a lot on the bar and make you imagine what is happening outside more than making you go outside, which, just like a book, works extremely efficiently as the writing of this game is impeccable and incredibly realistic to how humans can behave and communicate in everyday life. Long story short, this is how the game really goes on. Yeah, I know this sounds very unexciting and also sounds very basic, and it really is basic. This game falls on the interactive storytelling pit, which sometimes lacks a lot of substance to it when it comes to gameplay, but the amount of characters you will encounter, different speech patterns, and story that sinks you into this beautiful structured world is very clever and also very well written. And I say this because of a pure respect for the creators, mostly because they make you dream, even if you're just standing still in one room. Simple gameplay and yet intriguing characters for me were a giant plus to this game, and I believe it would appeal to absolutely anybody. But that's also when we learn how immensely fucked up this game is, and the main objective is really to stop all of this. There are two very different choices. In one of them is visible a small pill. This pill will do anything for you. It will save you from your eternal sadness or your eternal hatred. It will stabilize you from committing extreme acts and make you feel better in the worst moments of your life. In the other hand, instead there is suffering. A lot of obstacles in your way in what we usually would call life, filled with hiccups and bumpy roads. I'm sure your choosing will be quite fast, as you may already grasp the idea to gulp down the pill of pure happiness. Having no pain in your life is better than having pain at all. A person who is specifically suffering every day, maybe from a mental illness or from internal struggles of everyday life, will love to break the cycle. But this also will make us inhuman. Right? Well, this is what the game calls SPW in short. This plan is made by Supercontinent to suppress and yet to not make emotions disappear in all the implant wearers around the globe. This kind of update is sent through the entire city like a shockwave, making it possible for everybody to unknowingly be affected by it. This, in theory, will make a better version of the human being by giving it a possibility to be sad, but to not fall into a depression, to fall in love but not to fall into lust, or to not commit or fall to heinous acts like murder or worse. As beautiful as this sounds, a question will be asked multiple times and we are the ones who can answer. Is this right or wrong? Some people will disagree, but who or what does truly make us human? You can say that who makes us human is of course who made us born, but also us and our experiences. And what makes us human is what we do in our life. Maybe the big harsh decisions we make, the small ones, the emotions we experience, and the things we go through. Experiencing pain can be a lesson, just as happiness is. Therefore, to me, when I heard about SPW, I thought instantly this is an extremely fucked up system. To me, at least, it's okay to do mistakes. And also it's okay to live life and have these bumpy roads. And also it's okay to have a good life, a passive life, a great life, as long as we as humans, we are happy with it and we are doing something out of it, just nothing malicious, of course. You know, if a person is controlled and yet cannot properly feel one's end or the other, this just feels like a disinfected society. Sure, it will definitely be more regulated, more safe, you can even say, but is it really necessary to end with this incredibly drastic decision? Or is there something else we can do? You might also think, well, fuck it, I'll just not wear any implants. But it's just exactly there that it just goes even more wrong. The mirror neural algorithm, or MNA for short, is an algorithm which is centered and follows the same dynamic as we do in real life when it comes to make a human feel something through some sort of media or act. You can make possible for these micro expressions to deform the human brain or influence it. So, in short, MNA is literally, yeah, you guessed it, unavoidable. The idea is that this will manipulate anybody, as it will cause mass influence amongst the globe. People with no implants will be influenced to spread the before mentioned SPW, and they will force everybody to finally succumb to this SPW, end up with a fully functional project on their hand, which will include 100% of all human beings, or at least 99%. But at the same time, it's not that easy to understand if a person is committing to these kind of acts in the first place. Therefore, it could or could not affect the individual in the way which is expected. If you think about it, it's actually a very plausible and disturbingly similar thing that ads, for example, do nowadays. Predatory ads nowadays are very much not unsimilar to this idea. For example, when you watch your favorite YouTuber, Dream or Mr. Beast, food is going to be shown and an app is going to be suggested. If you think about it, it's very similar to what we spoke about. We see the tasty food shown on screen, we download the app because of the fear of missing out or simply fall for the false reality, as the food shown on the screen sometimes can look beefy and even big, while in reality this food is much smaller, making the individual sometimes buy even more food to become somewhat of a Patreon at the end of it. It's a very fucked up idealism, but in reality it's very similar to what we are seeing in the game. Yeah, we're talking about humans and McDonald's burgers here, but how much does it take for a human like Donovan to break when suddenly everybody he knows, even brand A's, and they're just acting this extremely happy, and through these micro expressions, somewhat they even promoting this algorithm to him, even if indirectly. In the whole story, it is very much difficult to understand if this project truly is malicious for this reason. As humans, we want the betterment of the world, and SPW follows exactly that. We want everybody to live in a normal life without suffering, and yet, without exactly these things in our lives, life stops being life. We have challenges, but they are not the same. We feel love, and yet we'll probably never learn something new from it. Of course, outside of speculation and what we found out, we cannot really specify or confirm how much influence this project will give, but it could be of absolutely catastrophic proportions. Or it will do everything for the better. And yet, those two ants, so tempting, are standing still as they await our opinion. So, which one will you choose? Life is unpredictable, and yet sometimes can end up exactly how we think it will end. If we really had a chance, we would take the choices we wanted to, with the results we always wanted. Yet, life is how it is. The results can be disappointing, great, or straight up confusing. And this game does not fuck around on this concept. I left a lot of vague statements in this whole review, but I really want everybody to try themselves and to experience the game on their own, with their own choices, and just see them unfold. And yet, it starts somewhere and it ends somewhere. And that ending can or cannot be influenced. And honestly, that is fucking terrifying. A lot of people will state into the reviews that this game ends up being this point and click game with engaging characters. But all the choices you do have no impact on this world. And even after all the things you do, all the things that you choose to change, they all lead you to the same ending. Honestly, I disagree. To me, this is an ending of pure fate.